Alright, by popular demand, I'm going to be doing my Solidarity Gravekeeper list. You can call this Royal Tribute Turbo, I guess. Brought this to my local, did not emerge victorious in any of my matches. This deck is not at all inspired by the Gravekeeper deck that did well on ladder recently. In fact, I had this idea before that, and I was kind of annoyed that that kind of came out right before I was going to finally have the ability to bring this in real life. But yeah, so my locals is really stacked. Sometimes you just don't win. I don't think the deck is bad. I actually think that there was definite like skill issue and user error that I can speak to, despite the fact that I was the one making the errors. Mainly, I was not passive enough, despite the fact that I went to time like 3 or 4 of my matches. Like, I actually should have just done nothing even more. Yeah. Anyway, I will now show the deck. We got, of course, 3 Spy, it's a Gravekeeper deck, 3 Descendant, and 3 Commandant. So yeah, kind of all Gravekeeper lists that are more pure Gravekeepers, not like a Synchro Cat or something. We're gonna run all that. The more interesting thing in my build, I would say, is Gravekeeper's Priestess. If people do not know what this one does, if there's no field spell, the field counts as Necro Valley. So this is just an additional way to Royal Tribute your opponent, obviously. And it's another Gravekeeper / monster card at all. I felt really low on monsters. I can't imagine not running Priestess, kind of. 1 guard, once again, it's just a Gravekeeper name. And then 1 assailant. I probably want more of this. I honestly wanted Spear Soldier even as well. But I was working with what I had in real life. Kind of hard for this one. 3 Necro Valley. One of the best cards to have 4 in Edison, because who cares what it says on the card? Like, no one knows which copy we're supposed to be working with. We do know what the effect is, though, basically. So 3 copies of Royal Tribute. There's a blank sleeve here. Shout out to my friend Alex, who let me borrow a copy of Royal Tribute for the event. I actually have acquired like 5 more copies since then. You guys will see I bought like 3 collections that I'll be doing videos on. But yeah, so 3 copies of Royal Tribute. Of course, I was seeing Royal Tribute. It was putting in work. 2 Upstart. So this obviously kind of lets you see Royal Tribute more, and also it gives you the option to side out cards pretty easily. 2 Gravekeepers Steel. I did base this on the deck that did well on ladder, just because like it did exist. Like, I had the idea originally, but then when I was finally going to bring it to a local, there was no reason to not look at this deck that had just done well. And I believe that someone brought essentially that deck to my local the week before and went 3-1. So, like, the deck can definitely compete. But yeah, I think you need to be even more passive than I was being. 2 Steel. Obviously, this is a raw +1. If people happen to not know what this one does, you target 2 Gravekeepers in your grave, add them to your hand. Pretty good. Can't get DD Crowed because Necro Valley will probably be on the board. So Steel, it is just a raw +1. It's kind of part of how the deck is even kind of decent. I kind of would have liked to have 3 maybe, just because again it is a raw +1. And yeah, as long as you can fuel it, it's weirdly like Avarice, like I guess, like as long as you can fuel it, it's amazing. 2 Solidarity. So what does this do in the deck actually? Well, it makes everything except guard a deck devy target, basically, including Priestess, because she gives herself 200 attack. And if you have Priestess on board, even guard becomes a deck devy target. So we're talking Spy even. Obviously, Commandant is still not, but yeah. In addition to that, it also makes your guys kind of large. Like if you have a Descendant and this, that's 28, which is decently large in the format. You can get over stuff with Solidarity. And also, again, yeah, deck devy. Pretty overpowered card. I was resolving that all day. Once again, I think I should have just done nothing when I was controlling, sort of. I would attack in the background stuff. I don't know what I was doing wrong back row wise, because I do only have the 1 MST. I didn't run heavy, kind of. I had a lot of, you know, continuous cards, and the build that did well online did not run heavy, I believe. I kind of think maybe I should have still, but whatever. 1 Mirror Force, and 1 Solemn, Torrential, 2 Bottomless. I don't actually, hold on, I'm going back. I don't love Torrential, but in this deck, I thought there'd be instances when I didn't have monsters a good amount of time. 2 bottomless, it's bottomless. 2 deep prison, which is a lot for me. Yeah, the deck, it's kind of just a control deck, you know? 2 deck Devi. This card is incredible, but this deck is kind of like Black Wings if they don't see Whirlwind, in that, like, you don't really want to give up your monster sometimes. But it lets you see your opponent's hand, and, you know, I don't need to explain why that card's amazing. 2 Starlight Road. I don't know if I was ever able to successfully resolve this card. One time I had my own Royal Oppression get in my way. But in general, like, yeah, you want to protect your whatever. It's Starlight Road. It should be decent. I don't like it, especially with Trapstone running around and stuff. But I need to protect my stuff somehow. I don't know that this is the protection I would go with in the future, but yeah. 2 Royal Oppression in the main deck. I was going to play at least one of these. I think that the build that did well online played 2. I went with 2. I don't know. It was okay. So that is the main deck, basically. The side deck is actually pretty interesting, though, and I was siding a lot, obviously. So one Morphing Jar. Obviously, this conflicts with the Solidarity. There was one time I even left in 1 copy of Solidarity, still put this in, but I wanted to at least have this in my side deck in case I was like, oh, wow, this was not it. I don't think that the Solidarity was bad or whatever, but this also is an amazing card. I was able to resolve it 2 or 3 times, including the game that I had Solidarity. You just have to, you know, game on, play your cards right, whatever, in the right order, and it is okay to run cards that hypothetically conflict. 2 Toy Magician. So yes, this one I will need to probably explain. So you can set this card in your spell and trap zone as a spell card, and if it gets destroyed while it's face down by your opponent's card specifically, you special it during the end phase. And then if any of these are ever flip summoned, you destroy spells and traps equal to the number of Toy Magicians on the field. So like if you have one on the field and you have one set, you can flip it up and pop stuff basically. So this is like, I guess, to counter the fact that a lot of people at my locals love to side in triple Dust Tornado. So specifically, this is like a weird tech for the very good players that I didn't reach playing because I went 0-4 at this event. So this is a spellcaster. It is 1600 and a spellcaster, you know? So under Solidarity, it's a weird body that comes out, basically. I was just messing around. So 1 Kaiku as well. This is Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. I went with the 1 copy basically because I have 1 secret. I have a ton of supers, but I just went with the 1 secret for today, whatever. Dark Elf. This thing was kind of the talk of the town at the event. This thing put in a ton of work, actually. Like, I opened Deck Devi with this card every single time that I sided Dark Elf in, I believe. And then Dark Elf attacked for, like, at least 10,000 damage, if not, like, 14,000 or something throughout the event. Dark Elf was swinging and connecting. Overpowered card. Makes me want to get into critter format just because of how good that card is. 1 copy of System Down. I'm not running Cyber Dragons, obviously, because of the Solidarity. 1 Nobleman. 1 Fissure. A lot of 1-ofs here. 1 Trap Hole. 1 Compulse. 1 Magic Drain. So this card, I think, is slept on in the format, and decks that run Deck Devi especially can just use this card at face value. If people do not know what this one does, you negate the activation of a spell card. Straight up, it is a counter trap that negates a spell. But your opponent can discard a spell to negate this card's effect. So, you use this card with Deck Devi or Dust Shoot, and you just only use it when you know your opponent can't pay the cost to negate it. So, you're negating their Miracle Fusion or whatever that they top deck, you know? It's hypothetically amazing, and it's not that situational, really. I think the card is like an actual slept-on card, not a meme. But yeah, so 2 Pulling the Rug. I don't remember exactly what I was thinking with this, but it's kind of just more back row to put in against decks that it is good against, you know? If Oppression's not good or something. And then 2... 7 Tools of the Bandit. This is mainly to negate the Trap Stun or negate whatever, basically. 7 Tools of the Broke. Shout out my guy Scott, the one who wanted me to do this deck profile in the first place. He's a big fan of the card. And then we'll show the extra deck, I guess, even though this is one of those decks where you can just play triple Chimera Tech, triple Stardust, and it'd be fine. I don't play Brain Control or anything, or any tuners. So, still 2 Chimera Tech, even though I don't have any Cyber Dragons. Armory Arm, Catastor, Android, Armed Wing, Brio, Goyo, Black Wizard, Armor, blah, blah, blah. There are the cards I play. I think I must have had an additional Stardust, surely, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah. So I must have grabbed the other Stardust and put it in a different deck or something, but I was at least playing the 2 Stardust with the 2 Starlight Road in my defense. So yeah, that's the deck. Not the greatest deck profile, but if you enjoyed it, thank you for watching, and peace.